Hi guys, welcome to this session in Microsoft Access. In this module, I want to show you how you can create a student database from scratch. So first of all, blank database. You need to name the database. So I'm just going to call this students. So this is the name of the database and it's going in documents, and then you just click on create. It already defaults for your first table, but I'm just going to close that one off and create my own tables. I want to create 3 tables, one for schools, one for courses and one for students, and then we'll go through the process of linking those up. So first of all, create table, table design, that was what it was on, table, so this is what I'm going for, table design, and then you get this screen where it gives you the field name, the data type, of which there are many, and a description which is optional. So the first field name, let's go for courses. I'll go for course ID as being a primary key, and I'll have that as an auto number, which means every time I add a new course it will increment by 1. That's the default setting, 1. Then I need the different types of courses that I want to list in my little database. So I've got course ID. Now I also need to have fields to link this to students and school. So I'll go for student ID, which will be a number field, and school ID, which will also be a number field. So those are the fields that I'm going to link to. So student ID will be the primary key in the students table, and school ID will be the primary key in the schools table. In this table, courses ID needs to be set as a primary key, like so. So that means it's a unique identifier, can't have a duplicate. Now I want to list the courses, and I want the columns in this table to be the courses, so I can then have the students completing with a score the course. So let's go for the first course, which can be maths, English, and then you can just add more courses if you want. Let's go for German, French, some language courses, history and geography, and so on. So these are all text fields, and you've got in there, if I drop this arrow down, you've got lots of different types you can have. So there's lots of date, time fields, currency if you've got money, yes, no, if you wanted to do a pass fail for this. But I actually want to put some figures in here, like what a student scored, for example. I would want to put in there. You could have it as a pass and fail, it's totally up to you how you do this. And you've got all these other options down the bottom there, which we'll have a look at a later date. I'm just going to save this table. So to save the table, up at the top there, it should start with TBL table, and this is courses, so this is courses. Okay, to that one. Now I want a new table. I'll close that one down. I want a new table, create again, table design. This is going to be students. So I'll save this one straight off, TBL students. So in this one, I need it to have student ID. Didn't like me saving that at that time, I didn't have any fields in it. It will do now. So student ID also can be an auto number, and that'll be the primary key. Now it should let me save it. Oh yeah, there we go. So what I want here is the name. In fact, I put student name to make it, because it doesn't like using name. Student name, address, postcode. You can split the address down more than that if you want, and postcode, and I'll have date joined, just to put some date fields in here. Now that wants to be a date time, and when you do a date time, you've got some options down the bottom here, properties. There it says input mask. If I go in there, 3 little ellipses at the end there, I can change the format. Yeah, I'll change the format to a short date. So basically that's what's going to appear in the columns. So you can't type the word August, for example. I'll just finish that one off. So that's going to have that format on there. So student, now what I need to do is put the fields in for this other table. So course ID and perhaps school ID. So I can link them together. So I'll put course ID, which is a number field. It's an auto number field, another one. And I need to spell the thing right. Course ID, student ID. So these are what's called the foreign fields from the other table. And that's going to be a number. I'll just save that for now and close that, and then I can add details in. Not student ID, school ID. That'll be school ID. I'll save this and I'll put some records in later on. So I'll close that down. So if I go and look at courses, that's what the table is going to look like. So I'm going to be putting scores there for people, so I'll need to link it to students. The student table is just the same. You've got your course ID and things like that. I'll close those down, close that one down, and the last table I want to create is table design. These are schools. So we've got school ID, auto number, and that's the primary key for this one. So we just want school name, and address. Just leave it as that. Come back and fix this or add things to this later on, but what I want to do is just to make sure TBL school that the link works, and then you can get rid of fields that you don't need or add ones that you do want. So now we've got 3 tables, and to link these tables up we need to go to database tools, relationships, and then we just need to pull these on, add them across like so. So you've got 3 tables and you've got 3 primary keys. You just expand them so you can see all the fields like that. So one student can do many courses. So student ID from this table to student ID in that one, and you should be able to get a one-to-many. Now if you tick this, enforce referential integrity, that means you cannot add a student in this courses table unless they exist in this table. So that's a safety mechanism, so that's a good thing to do. So I'll create that. Sometimes when you've got records already in tables, you can't actually do that because somebody would have already typed a student ID that doesn't exist in this table, and that way you should go into courses and make sure that's all sorted out. But I'll create that and you'll get the one-to-many symbol, 1 to infinity. Now a school can also do many courses. So school to school ID, 1 to many, create. So that's the links you've got there. One school can do. So this courses table is like a joining table. So I'll just leave it like that for now, and I might have to come back into this later on and just change this as I'm building this up, or if I need to add extra fields I might have to break some of these links before I can do certain things. But that's the structure I want at the minute, so I'll just click save on that, and then it's a case of just adding a few records and seeing how this sits. So I'll close that down. So if I create a student, so I'll create myself, Steve Saxton, 2 Red Road, postcode NE1 1RT, and date joined today, say. Now what I've got here, I've got a problem here, so I don't know what the courses are. I can't select a course there yet that doesn't exist, so I need to open courses. And there I've got a student ID and school ID where I haven't got any information, so I need to go into school, or maybe create a school. So I'll just call this Buttershaw Bradford. That'll do. So I've now got a school. So if I close the school down, the ID for the school is 1, but I can't actually see that. So what I need to do here is go back into design and do a lookup for both of these. So design, so student ID, what you've got is the option of a lookup down there, or if I go where it says number, drop this down, you can go to lookup wizard for student ID, and see what it does. Part of one of my, see there, it's on the relationships, it's not liking it. If you want to change this, you've got to delete the relationship. So we're back up there, and I'll just knock that off. You can redo it later on. Okay, that's because this is open, and I'll just close that down as well. So now I can delete these. Yes, I'll delete that one as well. I can do that later on. So then we'll go back into courses. So I need lookups to the other two tables from inside there, which will then affect this. Go back into design, lookup. So I want the lookup field to get values from another table. Yes, I do. So this is the courses table. I want this to look at the students next, and I want it to look at student name. I'll bring 2 across actually, both of those. Student ID, student name. In fact, if I do it the other way around, and then student ID, see what happens here. Not bothered about it being sorted. So hide the column, yep, so it's just going to show that. That's what I want. Next. Now this is what I was showing you before. If you do this manually, this relationship, tick that. That needs to be ticked. Data integrity. And finish. Yes. Now watch what happens here. If I go into that relationship window, it hasn't put anything in there. But if I close this and close that, I'll just say yes to that for now, and then just see what happens when I open that up. It's created that relationship for me, so I didn't have to do that manually. So if I close that down again, yes, I do want to save it. I can do the other one from the courses table. So if I go back into courses, this time right click design view. So that was the student one done. So that's got the lookup values all down here, look. Now you can do all this manually if you want, but I think using the wizard's quicker. So I'll do the same for the school. So go down for the lookup wizard, and same option. I want the lookup field to get values from another table. Next, this time it's going to be the school table. Next, and I want the school name and the ID, and then that's all I need. Next, that's what it's going to look like. Next, tick this, finish, save, close. Let's have a look at the database window. Relationships are exactly how I did it before manually, but this time because I've used the lookup wizard, it's done it all for me with the correct 1 to infinity symbol, 1 to many. Because I take that enforced referential integrity option, that's what it's done. So 2 ways of doing that. It's up to you, but let's have a look what that means. If I go back to, yes, if I go back into courses, I've got a lookup for students and school. Now, if I go to students, I've just got 1 record, which is me. Now, on there, I might not need these 2 fields because it's a bit of a duplicate, because this table has got that information in. So what I'm going to do is go into this and delete those 2. Now watch what happens here. If I go into design on this one and delete these 2 fields, yeah, it comes up and tells me again I've got to get rid of the indexes. got rid of it. Save, close, back to database tools, just check the relationship, still intact, that's good. So now students has just got names and addresses, and courses has got the foreign fields of the other two tables, and school has just got an address as well. So the outside links, if you like, students and schools are just addresses. All the details of everything is in this. So if I wanted a new course, I drop this arrow down, he's doing the course, that's the school, and then you'd put in the scores. And in this example, this is not about what courses are you taking. This is a table of results. So let's say got 89 in maths, we've got 56 in English, 54 in German, 34 in French, 89 in history, and 90 in geography, and that's about how I would have been. You've now got some information there about this particular student. So I'll close that off, and you want to create a new student, you just go and do another one. So Dave Jones underneath, One Red Road, they all live next to each other. NE1 1RT, and E joined today as well. And then if I close that one off, back to courses, and now you would have in that drop down, you've got both of those people. Now if I add a second school, if I go to school and County High, Leeds, that's all I'm putting in there. Close that one down. School, you get that appearing in this drop down because that is looking at that table. So that's all I want to do on this little session, but the next session we'll look at creating some queries to start interrogating this, so you can have see what people are scoring on from different schools, from different courses, whatever you want to do. We'll just interrogate this table. We'll also look at doing forms and reports at a later date, but hopefully this has got you going, setting you up, and thank you for your time. I'll catch you on the next one.